and I'd love to hear everybody's. So I'm of the opinion that everybody can tell a story, right? I think that all of us are born storytellers. There's some research, and I'm happy to send you guys this research, that says, we talk about what is it that makes human beings different from other animals. And this is a conversation that keeps going on. Is it our ability to use tools? Is it our ability to be rational? What is it? And one of the answers that I really resonate with, and I believe is true, is that it's our ability to tell stories. And that is what has kept us, yes, correct, like in Sapiens. And what for me is the most fascinating part is that I am imagining the story of the first story every time I think about this idea, where I imagine that the first time any story was told, it was probably a descriptive story. It was probably there was a lion over there and I had to avoid it and it was very, very close, but I made it alive and that's insane. Let's tell everybody to never go back there, right? And the idea of storytelling, I think, continues to serve that purpose. I think it's still today, we look for the stories because we want the gift of the stories. And so when we talk about sharing stories or what stories we want to share, what stories we share over and over again, what stories are shared to us when we were children. I don't know if there are parents in this room, but what stories you share with your children, many of them have a cautionary quality, an explanatory quality.
This seems like a good way to start. Once upon a time, a man walks into a bar. And he sees his best friend sitting over there at a table. He walks up to him. His best friend is staring down at the tabletop where is this very small man playing this very small piano very beautifully. And the hero of our story, we'll call him Fred, asks his friend, "Oh my gosh, he's so little and he's so good at the piano. Where did you get him?" And his friend doesn't even look up from the tabletop. He just stares down and he says, "There's a genie out in the alleyway. He's giving away wishes." And Fred wants some of this, so he rushes out to the back of the bar, throws open the door, and sure enough, there's this huge, splendid genie standing there in the alleyway. He kind of screws up his courage. He says, "Genie, please grant my wish. I'd like $1,000,000. And the genie looks at him for a moment, then he nods his great head. There's this blinding flash of light in the alleyway. And when Fred can open his eyes again, the whole alley is full of the stench and the clamor of 1,000,000 quacking ducks. Not bucks, ducks. There's 1,000,000 of them. So they're maybe this high on him. They're in his face. They're pecking him. He's got to get away. So he gets the door to the bar open again. He runs inside. He's got his cloud of ducks following after him. And he yells to his friend. He says, "Can you believe that stupid genie? I asked him for $1,000,000. He gave me 1,000,000 ducks." And his friend finally looks up from the tabletop. And he's got this single tear rolling down his face. He says, "Yeah. Do you really think I asked the genie for a pianist that was 12 inches long?" So that's kind of a lame joke, an old joke, but I have a point about it. The point is that a joke is a story. When we tell each other jokes, we're telling each other these small, funny stories. You go see a stand-up comedian, you're going to see a virtuoso oral story performer. And I think it's this great example of jokes, of the way that story infiltrates just about everything that people do, but in ways that we are hardly aware of. I wrote a book about this called The Storytelling Animal. And the book gets in on this ancient, simple debate. And the debate is, what is a human being? What is it? What is it that most sets our species apart from the rest of creation? When you call the species Homo sapien, that's an argument. The argument is that it's our sapience, it's our intelligence, it's our big human brains that most sets us apart. There are other scientists, other philosophers say, no, really we're not all that reasonable, all that logical most of the time. Really it's our upright posture, it's our opposable thumbs, it's how sophisticated our cultures are, how sophisticated our language is. And I'm not here to argue against any of that. These things are all important. I'm just saying that one thing of equal stature is left off this list, and that's the way that human beings live their lives inside stories. So Homo sapien, that's a pretty good definition for the species. But Homo fictus, fiction man, that's about equally accurate. Man is a storytelling animal.
Language is one of the most primary facts of our existence. It's something that you say, well, what is human? Well, many animals have methods of communicating with one another, but none of them have our kind of extremely elaborate grammar. So it's right dead smack in the center of what it is to be human, the ability to tell a story. There is another theory that has it that the narrative art is an evolved adaptation, which we got in the Pleistocene, because those who had it had a much greater edge, had a much greater survival edge on those who did not have it. If I can tell you that right over there in that river was where the crocodile ate Uncle George, you do not have to test that out in your own life by going over there and getting eaten by the crocodile. And I can tell you all sorts of other things that are very useful to you for survival in your world if I can tell you a story. And we know that people learn and assimilate information much more through stories than they do through charts and graphs and statistics. You might want to back up those things with the math. But what really hits people is the story, because it's not an intellectual thing, and it's not just a scream, it's not pure emotion. It's a melding of those two things, which is where we exist as human beings. We're not thought machines. We're not screaming machines. We are thought-feeling machines, if we're machines at all. Let's pretend we're not. We are thought-feeling entities. In fact, some people who have done studies on it say that if you remove the emotion from a person through some accident, they have a lot of trouble making decisions because they try to reason everything out, and you actually can't. It's endless.